Welcome to Axle Nation, powered by United Axle. I'm Kara.
I'm Todd.
And we are your hosts today. Our special guests are Lori and Max from Crumb Truck and Trailer in Springfield, Missouri. Crumb has been a United Axle dealer since 2019. And Lori and Max are actually here this week for training for the Master Certification class. And we wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to talk to them and hear more about how things are going in Springfield. So let's start with you, Lori.
Hi.
Tell us your job title and your role with Crumb.
Okay, I'm the department manager over at Crumb United Axle, and I also run the service desk too. So.
Okay, and how long have you been with Crumb?
Since 2021.
Oh, 2021?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So a few years now.
Yes.
So what was your history before Crumb?
I worked in the auto industry. I ran auto shops, learned the ins and outs of mechanical, and then, I went into being a GM over some of those shops.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm automotive background, and I
Very
wanted to
good.
move into the bigger truck industry, and so I chose to go with Crumb.
Okay. Are you liking the bigger truck industry better versus...
I'm loving it. There's,
Okay.
more learning curves,
Yeah.
and, the stuff is also bigger, but
Yes.
there's not so many parts to the bigger trucks as there is with our automobiles.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
it's catching up with electronics and AI and all that. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Okay, so did you know that you wanted to go into automotive out of high school? Is that-
And yeah, I grew
Okay.
up with two older cousins that, I was always underneath trucks with them or always in the motors. I'd come out looking like a little grease monkey, I would say.
All right,
So,
fun.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it was just very appealing to me.
very good. Okay, Max. So we also have Max. Tell us your job title with Crumb and how long have you been with Crumb?
So I'm their spindle technician for United Crump, and I've been working with them for almost a year now.
Okay, very good. And so what did you do before Crumb?
Previously, I attended Midwest Technical Institute, and I went through their welding program. Crump came to the class we were in, and they did a presentation over the United Axle portion of their business, and it really caught my eye. And so I just made a point to come and talk to them about this and go further and seek employment with them about this opportunity that they presented me.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay, I did not know that Crumb went to the school
Yes.
to present. That's great.
Yeah, we also go to OTC too. We try to branch out and
Okay.
get younger people into the industry,
That-
help them build from there.
Oh, that's great. That's great. What is the most appealing part of your job, Lori?
Taking the calls and being able to get right to the drivers and help them to get them right back on the road. Because every minute they're down, they're losing money, or they're not going to be able to get their freight to where it needs to be on time. Or if they're on their way to go pick up their freight, that's very important. We need to help get them there, and it's a joy to, get my guy there, get them done, and get them back on the road.
Yes, and I can hear it in your voice. Like you
Yeah.
love what you do.
Love it.
And Todd and I, we actually came from the trucking industry. So we understand downtime is money, big money for trucking.
Yes.
So, yeah, you do a great job.
Yeah, and sometimes it keeps the drivers away from their family. If they're on their way home and they get a weekend plans with their family, that's very important to those drivers. I need to get them home to be with their family.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what's the least? If you had to say what was the least appealing, if there is a least appealing, it sounds like you really enjoy what you do, though.
Oh, I do. And then there's times that I don't. You get those drivers that this is where the woman thing comes in, I guess you can say. They're like, well, we need to talk to a guy. Well, no, I need you to talk to me. That's the less appealing in my job, trying to
I am
get
your
that,
guy. Yeah.
trust from that driver. Hey, you can trust me. I'm here to help you.
Yes.
Because
Because they are in a bad spot when they're broke down.
Yes.
And they, like you said, they're trying to get back up on the road as soon as possible. And they need somebody to walk them through this axle repair. There's not many in the industry doing axle repairs.
Correct.
Like what we do. We do have the patented process and the way we repair axles.
One of the questions I have for you is, how does it work out for you as far as having a threaded spindle, which is quite different in the market? What's the pros and cons to that?
Well, a lot of the drivers like it when I tell them it's serviceable, and they will have less downtime. If they ever do have another issue with that wheel end, I'm able to go out and do my little process, undo the spindle and put a new spindle in. And it appeals to them because it is serviceable and they're not going to have as much downtime if they have another failure on that particular wheel end.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty neat how it torques on and how it's applied. That's been one of our goals, is trying to figure out how to get it out there in the industry, the OEs. We always thought it would be pretty neat having franchises around, dealers around the country, and having shops like yourself be able to take care of the market.
Yeah.
So, Max, I want to hear how you're in training this week.
Yes.
For your master certification. How easy was the process to learn?
I would say after about the first week of training with my instructor, I started to pick up on, the process pretty quickly, and I was able to work through it with the instructor. And, it's a pretty simple process. It just takes some time to get, your measurements accurate and just kind of, work it through and just be able to remember every step.
Yeah, we designed it, or Todd actually is the one that invented the process, and he is a mechanic by trade. So whenever he designed this technology, we went for simplicity. So we wanted it to be easily taught, where we could take technicians like you straight out of school and with some welding experience and teach them this new trade.
That's also another thing that we try to really step up in the industry. And what I mean by that is, here at the corporate office where we do our training, we AWS certify our welders. We are not a welding school, but we can take somebody that has some skill and work with them and get them trained in welding and what we're doing and get them ASC certified.
Just being here these last 3 days, I have learned a ton more, and the education that you guys are allowing us to come and absorb is just absolutely amazing. And I want to thank you guys for that opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. Well, We're just happy that you're getting, educated.
Well, there's really so much more out there than one realizes. I mean, when you go through the class, we have demonstrations and different spindles on the floor. And even though it may be the same spindle on one axle it is to another, but the axle itself has different characteristics about it. And that's what we try to embed in the training, is to know what you're looking at when you're out there in the field.
So I want to hear, what is like one of the craziest or your favorite repairs that you've seen out there? I know there's some dangerous fixes. Since there's no regulation in what we do, we've seen some really crazy stuff, I know, here in our area on repairs that people have tried to do. So is there a situation that you've seen in your area?
Like in situations that you guys have helped us with, I can't remember exactly what rear end this was on, but we'd done our measurements. I called and had conversations with you, Karen. We tried to figure out which spindle would be for it, and then just the support that you guys gave us, we've ended up having to actually ship that axle to you guys for you guys to fabricate and get your measurements and to build the spindle to take care of our customer to get them back on the road. And, it's just amazing that now we have that spindle. If we run into that issue again, we have it because, you guys were able to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're here for. We're here to help support you in the field. So if there's anything that you do find, we're here to help manufacture and produce what you need. So once again, it comes back to getting the trucker back on the road, making money and back home to their family.
And that's another thing we see. We have people ship axles literally around the country. Maybe you're in some part of the country where, at this time we don't have a dealer and they need something fixed. So they can actually put that on a pallet, get a hold of us and send that to us. And we're usually, 5 to 7 day turnaround, just depending on what on the average axle. So we do a lot even outside of our dealers, here at the corporate side.
I mean, we've had, trailers come in that have gotten hit on the rear axle and which has damaged the spindle. So we were able to replace that spindle. And also at our facility, we're also capable of doing the alignments on the trailers and checking the camber and toe. So just because we replace that spindle doesn't mean that they're not going to have tire wear if there's damage to that axle. So,
sure.
We can also straighten those axles and put the camber toe back into spec along with the alignment. So that also helps the driver, less downtime, and they don't have an expense once they start rolling down the road and have to replace tires and things like that. So,
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
You're taking that extra step to take care of the customer.
Yes. And another way that we help our customers, when Max goes out, his truck is equipped with all of the wheel-in parts. He's got his bearing, races, hubs, brakes, anything that it's going to take to rebuild onto that new spindle. So we also offer that to help our customers and have less downtime also.
Great service. You all do a fabulous job up there. And we've heard really great reviews from customers and the service that you provide.
With the backing from you guys is what makes it possible for us to do our job too whenever it comes to those wheel-ins, the support that you guys give us.
Well,
and the training that we're getting this week is just absolutely amazing.
We appreciate that. We do our best.
We're our presence is heavy in the the middle of the U.S. To the south. We're trying to get more dealers out into those northern state areas, and we're constantly going to truck shows, trying to educate people not only who we are, what we are, but how we do it, and looking for dealers at the same time.
Well, while you're here, what did you think about Oklahoma? Have you been to Oklahoma before? I know you're not too far away from us, but
I actually have a close family that live out in Owasso, so
okay.
I've been down this part before.
Okay, well, very good. Very good. Well, we are definitely excited about having you guys here this week, and we enjoy working with you, and thank you so much for joining us here today. If you are listening and have questions or comments about today's episode, go to unitedaxle.com/Axle Nation and leave us some feedback. We would love to hear from you. If you're ready to grow your shop and be part of a nationwide network, head to unitedaxle.com/dealer and take the next step to join the United Axle team.